I was waiting to hear. I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, I was. Well, it was funny because I had a guy on my channel and I was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He's like, you're not supposed to say 2 and 1.
Yes, you are. Motherfucker. Yes, that bastard. Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay. You know what, BZ, I know you're going to watch this, so he's calling you out. Hey, everybody. So my name is Brenton Lengel, host of Insurrection with Brenton Lengel. Well, former host, though I guess this is kind of the new incarnation of Insurrection. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And I am here with Rico Rants. Is that how you like to refer to your channel?
That's the name of the channel, but y'all can just call me Rico.
Great. So for those of you who've been following Rico, who may not know me, I am a writer, a playwright. I've had 7 plays produced in New York City. I'm also the author of Snow White Zombie Apocalypse, the comic series, which got a copy of it right here. And the 2nd issue is going to be coming out very soon.
I need to see that. What the fuck? That's a...
Oh, yeah. And check out, the art is freaking amazing, if I do say so myself.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, my artist, Hyando Park, did the 1st issue. He's phenomenal. And my new artist, Luana Vecchio, who's worked with Image Comics, she's terrific as well. So, yeah, anyway, I talk politics and philosophy, religion, all the wonderful things, and I produce cool art. And I'm really excited to talk to Rico because I also do debates with Modern Day Debate, and I saw you on the most recent debate and wanted to reach out. So do you want to introduce yourself to my channel?
Yep. My name is Rico Baker. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I am a political activist, and I also have a YouTube channel, the Rico Rants, where I just talk politics and social issues, whatever tickles my fancy at the time. Although I'm not as frequent with it as I used to be because the political activism and personal stuff in my own life, it takes a lot of time. So sometimes I just don't feel like it.
But, yeah, absolutely. I hear you on that. Yeah. And by the way, thank you for your service.
No problem. It's wasn't nothing special. I was an aviation maintenance technician, then a combat marksmanship instructor, then a substance abuse control officer. And it's just a little fun thing about the military is that you kind of just they pretty much, you end up wearing a whole lot of different hats. So and you're never going to go in and do one job. You're going to be doing like a bunch of different jobs, and most of them will never be like your official job. Like it's not an official MOS, but you're the one running it. You know what I mean? That's a little fun fact.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool. I'll have to have you talk to a guy that I stream with sometimes. His name's Bobby of the 5x5 podcast. And he he did like 2 tours in Afghanistan, if I'm not mistaken. And we just did a thing responding to the Garrett Foster shooting and talking about military culture. So I bet you guys would have a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah, he's definitely good. I can talk from the air wing side, and he's talk from the ground side. Well, unless he he'll be able to answer if I talk to him, whether he was deployed there on the air wing side or like ground support, or was he like a ground troop? Like there's a big difference.
Yeah, so, I'm not sure. I know he was in the Army. That's
yeah. So I'm sure he'd be able to answer once we talked.
Yeah. So anyway, and you mentioned you were a political activist. I've got my own activist background. I was very active with Occupy Wall Street. I've since backed off because I'm a father now, and and just as I've gotten older, less time to go and screw with cops in the street.
No kidding. I don't blame you.
Yeah. So your activism, has it been specifically through BLM, or like what kind of stuff have you been involved with?
So I work with the county, my county's Democratic Party, as well as the Common Defense, is the veterans organization, as well as recently the Democratic Socialists of America. So I usually work with all these people, and with the respective goal is to get people like us, progressives and the like, in office from even the lowest level. So like right now, I'm the campaign field organizer for the state Senate candidate Libby Griffin. So that's stuff like that. We just try to get our people into government at the local level.
That's awesome. And I can tell you, so one of my former co-host for Insurrection with Brent and Lengel was a guy by the name of George Rhythm Martinez. He was the Occupy candidate for state Senate, and he was also the official U.S. ambassador of hip hop, which I was very tickled to find out that was an actual position.
That's a thing.
Yeah. But anyway, he was on my show, and he would always say all politics is local.
All of it, yes.
Yeah.
Like I know there's a lot of focus on the national and international, but I'm like, there is nothing more important than your local fucking politics.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, great on you for doing work, and particularly for doing work with the DSA. I donated I'm an anarchist, but I donated to Bernie for the first time I've ever donated to anybody. And
you gotta work with what you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. You got to look at like what's right in front of you and deal with the problem there, and try to make the world a little bit of a better place as much as you personally can. Now,
okay.
Now, how did so was this your first debate? Because you were on Modern Day Debate last night, and I kind of looked in and saw BLM debate and clicked on it, and you were doing very well. You made some great points. The guy you were talking to, not so much. But
okay, yes, that was my. So I've been on talks and podcasts and interviewed people myself before, but that was the first time I've ever been in a straight up like this is a combative debate. You know what I mean? I've conducted interviews and been interviewed and with people who will give me pushback, but when I'm talking like a straight up debate, like straight up combative debate, yeah, that was new for me. But the thing is, my style of doing things, as to a lot of people's disdain, is I listen before I speak. I'm not there to fucking go back and forth. I'm gonna listen first. I'll let you talk. I want to understand you and where you're coming from, and then go from there. So a lot of people didn't like too much that I sat there and listened rather than just going after every single thing he said, because he said a lot. Holy shit.
Well, Gish Galop, and you pointed that out in the debate. So essentially, for those of you who haven't seen it, Modern Day Debate, the most recent channel. This is how I was introduced to Rico. They had a guy by the name of Wotan on, which pisses me off as a nerd who has a raven tattooed on his ribs and loves the Norse.
I just found out about that. That is fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is. The Acer would not accept Nazis, but anyway, this guy, was in there. He claimed to be from New York and said he had a New York accent, but to tell you the truth, dude, I lived in New York more than 10 years.
That was the fakest fucking New York accent I've ever heard.
Thank you. Yeah, that was driving me freaking crazy, because like either he's faking it or he has a major speech impediment. But I'm pretty sure he's faking it.
No, that sounded fake. Yeah, that was some fake shit. It sounded like a dude who was mimicking like a cartoony version of a 1930s New York mobster. Like that's what he sounded like. And I was like, are you from New York? I don't know no New Yorkers who talk like that.
No, 10 years in the city, a full decade, never ran into, like, I've run into some thick, like, New York.
Thick New York, yeah. Nothing like that.
No. Well, here's the thing that I was thinking he was doing, because, so when I started debating with Modern Day Debate, one of the early debates that I did was, because I jumped into the thing like 2 feet first, but like, was a debate between myself, my friend from Occupy, a guy by the name of Caleb Maupin, and Eric Stryker and Mike Enoch. Now, if you don't know who these two guys are,
holy shit.
Yeah. And it did not go as well as I was hoping it would go, but because the moderator was fairly loose at the time, I don't think, and this was James, he runs the site, but I don't think he was prepared for these guys. And like, on top of that, like, it sort of devolved into a screaming match by the end of it. Now, at the same time, because I have been following these frickin' neo-Nazis for years. I was concerned about this back when like the only Nazi threat was like the Golden Dawn in New York, when they had those like murders between the Golden Dawn and a leftist group, when they murdered the rapper Pavlos Fisas, Killer P. So for years I had to start studying fascism because I'm a writer and I'd become an anarchist, and I was telling a story about famous anarchist Buenaventura Durruti, who I've written a screenplay about. I'm working on a play about him. He's like the anarchist Che Guevara, one of the most fascinating figures. But to understand anarchism and to understand this period, because he literally fought and killed fascists, you got to study fascism. And suddenly I'm
you
like,
have to understand them to defeat them. Like that's one of my big things on. I tell a lot of leftist this is like y'all you do want to listen to them because you're not going to beat them if you only engage with like straw man versions of them, your version of them. Like you need to understand them on the ground, like their mindset and where they're coming from and why they do what they do, because that's how you beat them. And because a lot of their with like one of their greatest strengths and weaknesses is that they don't understand us. They don't understand anybody.
No, not at all.
But they don't care to, but they don't want to. And that works against them and makes them incredibly gullible, but at the same time, it also is a great strength for them because they don't make any distinctions. They don't fucking care. Everyone that's not them is their enemy. And that very extremely simplistic view of the world and their opponents, it does make things easier for them to parse with killing us. You know what I mean? So,
well, exactly, because they're trying to dehumanize people. And so what I think he was doing was I think he was trying to do an Eric Stryker impression, because I was listening to like his voice and his cadence and just like the particular way he like threw a decent amount of hate into the way he spoke. Like even when he wasn't saying,
you can hear the venom in his words, man.
Exactly. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, who the hell is this bargain? First off, like Eric Stryker is like the bargain basement neo-Nazi if you're looking at like the neo-Nazis. And then there's a bargain basement Eric Stryker, like the Kmart Eric Stryker. So
this fucking guy.
Yeah.
At least Eric Stryker fucking balls enough to be Eric Stryker and not some moniker hiding behind an image. Like, oh, come on now, you want to say all this shit? Put your face out there, put your name out there, motherfucker. Put your name behind these words of yours.
Yeah.
You know
but
I mean?
I should say that Eric Stryker kind of does the same thing. He got caught, but because his real name's I think Joseph Jordan, and like he's been doxxed. But yeah, his own face is out there now.
Yeah.
This guy was hiding behind Norse mythology and a fake accent.
All that shit.
Yeah, to yell at you about flat Earth and all this stuff. But so coming into that, like, where was the point when you kind of realized like you weren't talking to an entirely sane individual? Like, how soon did that come about?
From the fucking start, dude. When he fucking immediately was essentially like just this weird fawning praise of Nazi Germany
and Hitler,
and then essentially saying that Black Lives Matter is worse than Hitler. I was like, oh, I am not dealing with somebody who's working working with a full deck of cards here. Like, what the? I was like, oh, okay, this is what this is gonna be. Yeah. So at that point, I'm just like, all right, well, I'm in this. Ain't no getting out now. I'm like, okay, this is the kind of person I'm dealing with. This dude he's genuinely fucking unhinged. You know what I mean? Going on about, and again, one thing studying these people is I know how they talk. No one talks like them. No one talks about the prosperity of the black race. I'm like, no one talks like that. It's always white nationalists who will refer to people as Europeans or talk about the greatness of nationalism, who do weird fawning praise of Nazi Germany and refer to the prosperity of the black race or just any race. They're like, how does abortion help the prosperity of the black? I'm like, in my head, I'm just like, oh, I know what I'm doing. He's that kind of guy. Got it.
Now, what was interesting, I felt like his central argument, now obviously it was ridiculous, but it seems like that one is one that slightly transcends like neo-Nazis and goes into kind of the alt-light sort of like Ben Shapiro types, because I could see Ben Shapiro, advancing the, Black Lives Matter doesn't care about black people because they want
sort of work, but and in that case, that's a standard conservative would make that same argument. So there is some credence to that, and that is an argument just a standard conservative would absolutely make. So on that.
But then a standard conservative doesn't go in and start praising Hitler.
You know what I mean. That's what and I have his all of his points already written down because I'm saying I'm going to do a fact checking video on each one of them. But like you read these, and someone how I described it, because I posted on Twitter, essentially said this is very clearly the pipeline from standard conservative arguments to straight up unhinged conspiracy theories. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how that works.
Now, a lot of the time, I think, he may have, I don't know how the hell he got past the censors. I'm guessing he did like a flat earth debate or something, and then people just weren't really paying attention. And like maybe, because sometimes the moderators can be a bit aggressively normie and don't 100% understand how these people talk, because, Nazis lie and they hide everything and couch everything. I mean, like the freaking Gargamel thing.
Yeah, that's why I pressed him on that. That's why I let him talk. That's because he motherfucker was telling on himself the whole time. Like my whole thing is listen and then ask questions. And he was all the red flags were plenty. And it seems like, because I was paying attention to the live chat, everybody was figuring out real quick the kind of guy he was. I'm like, yeah, y'all see what y'all. I don't have to fucking tell you. You see this shit. It's very clear. Anybody who's familiar, even a little bit, with how they talk was figuring this shit out. But once it got to the Gargamel thing, it was game over from there. Oh, and even before that, it was game over when he said George Floyd was alive and went and attended his own funeral. That right there, I talked to people since that debate who they said everyone was floored. Like they're like, what the fuck?
Are you? Yeah. What are you talking about?
I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yep, there it is.
Yeah, because I think I said this on Twitter, but it's like, I'm not surprised that a neo-Nazi would be so racist as to not be able to tell one black man from another. But I've never seen it go quite that crazy to where like freaking George Floyd is hanging out at his own funeral like he's Tom fucking Sawyer.
Because the contention is essentially that since Black Lives Matter is controlled by white liberals who are then controlled by the Jews, George Floyd was a crisis actor who didn't actually die, so these protests are a scam meant to destroy America. That's the contention here. That's his argument. It's absolutely batshit fucking insane, but that's basically his argument. And everybody picked up on that shit real quick.
Well, like the sort of false flag narrative, they love it. And like even like if you read Ben Shapiro's book True Allegiance, which I don't recommend anyone does unless like, he has that basically the whole similar thing where he tries to he has the character manufacture a shooting of a black child.
Because like none of this could be genuine. None of the grievances of black people could be genuine. It's all concocted and pre-planned by some amalgamous cabal of evil mustache twirling fucking liberals or whatever the fuck to destroy America and usher in an era of fucking Marxist, Leninist, communist, socialist. All they're talking is it's an incoherent mess. But the primary contention at the root of it all is that our grievances are not genuine. That's the root of it. We like the issue with cops. It's not real. It's bullshit. We're making it up, blowing it up out of proportion. That like once you cut past all the bullshit talking points, that's the root of it. Our grievances aren't real. We're making this shit up. We're putting out plants. We're putting people in positions to make cops look bad, and thus weaponizing people's sympathy to further our own political ends.
Which of course goes to like the incoherence of the fascist worldview, because he also like the one part where you guys kind of agreed, and I agree as well, is that the cops suck.
That's like and how I got essentially to agree with that is and this is just the way I talk about things, is speaking broadly enough in a way that people understand that these things affect all of us. And the unaccountability of law enforcement, the effective impunity they have to do whatever they want to, whomever they want to, is an issue that all of us should be concerned of, no matter where the fuck we lie on the spectrum. And that's how I speak. And even he was able to somehow understand that. And realize, oh shit, like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, no shit, it's right. That's what I've been trying to tell you this whole time.
Yeah, and so you'd think that they would, logically take that out and go, oh, okay, so Black Lives Matter is absolutely a valid movement. Now, I was at but they don't put two and two together. I was at the very first Black Lives Matter march ever in New York City. I remember, still have some pictures of the crowd on my Instagram that I took, and like, to hear these people say, one, that Black Lives Matter is run by Democrats is idiotic. Like,
fucking-otic, man.
Yeah. I mean, you can look this up. There is a video, like one of the major challenges to Hillary Clinton's 2016 like activist challenge was Black Lives Matter. There's that girl who confronted her with a super predator.
Black Lives Matter were fucking hounding Obama the entire time he was in office. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what? Like, for some reason, and again, I've noticed that with conservatives and right-wing media, and the further right you go, they just conflate all of us with the Democratic Party. And I'm like, y'all really don't understand us, do you?
No.
Y'all think we're just as monolithic with y'all with regards to the Republican Party. Like, it's not the case at all.
No, leftists is like herding cats. And in fact, it's really silly because like Marx, so like my friend Caleb's a freaking Marxist. Like if you go and you spend any time on the left, you know who's a Marxist and who's not pretty quickly by the way they talk.
Quick.
You know, like they start bringing up dialectical materialism. They start talking about like the march of history. They talk about a economy doing away with the anarchy of production, like, and then you're like, okay, I'm talking to a freaking ML or a Maoist.
Yeah, no, I'm saying they seem to think that the left is just this. They take the liberal establishment Democrat and just say that's all the left, and I'm like, yo, do y'all think no, no. Holy shit! Like I have not seen leftists agree on 100% of everything, and like since the day I started being involved in online and IRL fucking leftist spaces and whatnot. Like what the no? There are a whole lot of different factions.
Yeah, and they all hate each other.
Yeah, they all like we agree on greater threat, greater enemy. We'll work together out of necessity, but we have very, very distinct philosophical and fundamental differences.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I wanted to bring up, so not to focus on this guy too much, but I do want to talk about kind of like your own background, ideologically, politically, and kind of like where you came from and where you are now and the kind of work you're doing. So, did you want to go into that?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't get like active in politics until actually participate in local politics until December of last year. December, because I'm in a rural area and it's like 99% old fucking people and shit. It's pretty easy for me to rise up and start running a bunch of shit. He left, all over the fucking place because, well, talking to them, they want young people to replace them. They really do. They all said that. It's just, they live in rural areas, so it's a lot of people, retirees and older folks, So they don't have me. So the second they see a young guy show up wanting to do shit, they're like, please, God, fucking take it. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so it was pretty easy to get involved in politics. But what got me, I guess what sparked me into politics, like actually wanting to, I wish I could tell you. I can't remember. Because you aren't the first person to ask me. I genuinely can't fucking remember. I know where my left-wing ideals came from, but what's got me to want to start getting active, say back in December, I don't remember. It's just because all the bad shit that's happened all just fucking blends together at this point. I can't. It's just so much that I can't keep up. So I really wish I could tell you what was the thing that made me say, all right, I'm gonna start doing it. I think it was maybe because of different change of job, where now I have the freedom to do it because I just got out of the Marine Corps back in August, or it's gonna get my. I don't even remember. It was just so much going on.
Yeah.
I really don't. But
and it sounds like you're doing a really good job of getting in, like directly involved in government and like doing your best to make a difference, which I think is something like a lot of people, even like the anarchists who say like don't vote, and I disagree with those guys. I think you should vote, and then just that's the minimum standard.
I say that to them. You can do both, because I'm like, even you kind of have to do both. You still have to work within the system that we're in, but you can still also do things outside of electoral politics to bring about change. You know what I mean? With community organizing and mutual aid, so on and so forth. Like, I know it may not get you national mainstream media attention, but that shouldn't be your fucking goal. Because if the only way you imagine politics is through big, nationwide scale fucking events and whatnot, then you're thinking about politics all wrong. So that's why I try to tell them, you do need to get involved in your local areas at a bare minimum, either in your local electoral politics, like school boards and town halls and shit, or just, just community organizing and mutual aid.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, so you are involved with the DSA, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did you mention them? So when did you get involved with the DSA, and what's that been like for you?
So far, so good. I got involved about a month and a half ago, I would say. And again, with my goal right now, I'm basically going to create a chapter I'll be leading the chapter of DSA, but for rural areas. Because they have chapters in the bigger cities here in North Carolina, already well-flourishing chapters and all that. But here in the rural areas, they don't. You know what I mean? And the state Democratic Party don't give a fuck about the rural areas. They've just pretty much ceded that to the Republicans. And they're wrong for doing that because having been down here and talked to a lot of these old folks, a lot of them, there are a lot of progressive leftists out here. But because there's no infrastructure for them to go to, they just kind of fucking deal with it. Like I remember literally one of my coworkers, I work for aviation maintenance defense contractor. This old dude, Vietnam veteran, fucking grunt. He shows me, he's like, this dude is a old white dude, card carrying member of the NAACP. Like this motherfucker, he's been a I've been a leftist my whole fucking life, man. That's all he's been all about it. And I'm like, and there's a lot of people like him around here. So I'm like, I thought to myself, well, hey, let's get the DSA and get these fucking get a chapter built where everybody in these rural areas can come together and, start affecting our local areas.
That's incredible, because again, change comes from below, and the organizing, like doing that work, like you're doing God's work right there. That's what I'll say, and it's hard to do. So, particularly
it's been really hard because of the pandemic, though. I will stress that that shit has slowed everything down. Holy shit, has that made our political organizing hard.
Yeah, well, I mean that honestly, that's one of the reasons I'm not in the street anymore. Like, I mean, there were other reasons why I'd kind of moved on since Occupy. I feel like I did my time in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Between if I did not have my son and I didn't have my wife to look out for, I'd probably be out there. Except. Boom, COVID, and you go to a protest, you bring it home.
It's no joke. It is stalled the fuck out of politics. Like even because I still do the Zoom meetings with the state Democratic Party and all that, and everybody's basically on hold. Like everybody is just stuck. They don't know what to fucking do. Like they're like, because they're not greenlighting any kind of town halls or anything that they would normally do during an election season. All the shit is just. They're just like, no, we're not greenlighting any of this shit. We're not exposing anybody to the virus. And it's really slowed down political organizing. This shit has made things hard.
Yeah, which shouldn't be a problem. Unfortunately, like when you've got the capitalist economy that we do, where most Americans, and you brought this up in the debate, most Americans don't have the money for a $400 expense.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, I'm pretty sure that's by design. Like, when you keep people right on the edge of poverty, they're willing to work for smaller wages. Like, I don't know if there's anybody like sitting in a room like cackling over it, but
yeah,
it seems like the economic system would push people into that situation where they need to be working for somebody else, and that one or two paychecks go awry. Like when you don't have freedom, when you don't have prosperity, you can't afford to be choosy about your job.
Yeah, and I tell you, I wouldn't even go so far that it's like by design, as in like deliberate, like somebody make it that way. It's more the logical end conclusion of people who genuinely believe in junk economics. They genuinely believe this shit. Like, I want to say that raising people's wages will then fucking result in higher inflation. Like everything will just skyrocket in cost. But I'm like, we all know that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or if you don't like the job that you're paid, the low pay you're getting, go get a better job. As if it's just that easy to get a better job. Like these are people who fundamentally do not understand what it's like to be in the working class. Like, and so for decades of people who are completely divorced from the reality that the vast majority of us live in, who measure the country's wealth based off the fucking stock market or the Dow, rather than the fact that more than half the country is, it's one missed paycheck away from poverty. These are people, this is the logical end conclusion, is they've essentially, their own fucking arrogance and ignorance of just how things are is the result of it. It's not like so much as by design as in they understand that it's like this and they're making it that way. It's that they believe in bullshit. And so that's how it just, this was the natural conclusion to that bullshit.
Of that bullshit. It makes a lot of sense. One of the things that I really noticed is so this was one of the things that I've noticed just with regard to health insurance and health care.
Yeah.
And I was on Medicaid actually, and it wound up being some of the best insurance of my life. Like I even had like hoity-toity CBS employee health insurance because my wife used to work for a major publisher. There was a CBS subsidiary, and that was great insurance compared to what most people have. And even that, like that even gave me ridiculous stuff like 40 acupuncture treatments a year. But like even that, I was more reluctant to actually use than when I had Medicaid and could just go and get something taken care of and not have to worry about, dipping further into debt or having to tighten my belt for a while because I dealt with stuff. What I've noticed is that, and I haven't seen this argument come out of either the Republicans or the Democrats, but it seems to be something like an undercurrent in that as long as we allow insurance to go through employers, essentially what we've done is we have made the hiring pool of skilled workers for corporate America much, much easier, and that they can offer like jobs for lower wages and worse benefits because they're the only ones who can give benefits. Whereas if we had some sort of universal health care, single payer option, you could move wherever you wanted to. You wouldn't have to worry about losing health care. You could start your own business and you wouldn't have to worry that your family might wind up in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt because your kid breaks his arm or something. Like, it seems to me like it is very convenient, not just for the insurance industry, but for very big businesses. And it's very much against like the small business owner that we do not have universal health care. And I've been really surprised that I haven't heard that argument even out of like AOC or anybody like that.
And that's one of the things that has frustrated me too for the longest time. And I actually do you one better is that I don't hear from them is that health insurance companies are screwing not just us, the working class, but also business owners. The amount they have to pay, the ones that to even try to provide coverage to their employees and whatnot, is money that would have been better spent increasing people's wages or increasing from the managers on downward, rather than have to spend all this fucking money. Like businesses would benefit from it. And I remember reading a while back a business owner who he said he'd only got his information from right-wing media, like Fox News and all that. But when he actually listened to Bernie Sanders, he didn't realize, like, holy shit, I would actually benefit if I didn't have to fucking pay these private insurance companies for healthcare coverage for my employees. You know what I mean? That's an argument I just don't see enough of from even Democrats like AOC, and I would love to see more of it. I'm just like, it's not just the worker class, it's the business owner class that would benefit too. Because we're getting screwed by these guys. Everyone is getting screwed by these guys. Even business owners are getting screwed by these guys. No one benefits but them, and we would all be better off without them. And I would really love to see that argued more from Democrats.
Yeah, I would agree with it too. And unfortunately, like Democrats, I feel like we're in kind of a hostage situation here. Like, and I wouldn't say it's from all Democrats, but like it was heartbreaking to see what happened with Bernie with as close as he got, because we haven't been that close since Eugene Debs. Like, and even Eugene Debs, like, he got a great, he ran for president from prison and got something like 25% of the vote. But like what I liked more than Bernie was the movement behind Bernie and the real enthusiasm that I saw out of those people. And I've really seen a lot of that flag and fall, since Bernie. And, I mean, we do have AOC, we do have a couple of other
That's what people. I'm saying. I say to people on that one, I understand feeling despondent after that happened, but I'm like, y'all gotta look at the bigger picture here is, the presidency is a hard fucking catch, but with each time we get closer and fucking closer. But at the same time, on the lower races, we're fucking killing the establishment Democrats. Like but like they're all the money in the world isn't winning anymore. Our people are winning. I'm like, I can't stress that enough. I'm like, we are making inroads. We may not get the presidency, but we're getting lower office or House of Representatives and Senate seats and whatnot. We are getting there, and we have to keep it up. We're showing them that money ain't buying positions anymore. Yeah. Money ain't all it takes anymore.
I would agree with you on that, and I think that a big thing that has evidence of that is Bloomberg crashing and burning.
Crashing and burning. Straight up, like, yeah.
Honestly, as a New Yorker, I was so happy to see that happen.
That scared the shit out of me, honestly. I was like, if he actually gets there, because that would show that, yeah, you could effectively buy the presidency.
Yeah.
But that seeing how he just completely flailed, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this and got nowhere, that showed me it ain't all money. And it showed them that too. It ain't all the money anymore. That's not how the game goes. And that right there is, and not just that, the demographic change, because just thinking about going back to Bernie and Biden, take South Carolina as an example. How the mainstream media, they tried their best to try to sell this narrative that black people rejected Bernie. And I'm like, no, that's not what happened. The older black voters took the safer route that they were convinced was the safer route. But young black voters, because as you've seen, Bernie wins every demographic of young voters, for people age 45 and below. Every demographic, landslide, hands down. Biden wins the people, 45 plus. So with the Democratic establishment, realize that all they have left is their older voters. And they're dying out. That's all they've got left. They're banking everything on the older voters because they have effectively given up on even trying to win over the young people 45 and below. But they're running out. The influence of the boomer generation is dwindling, and the Republicans know it, and the Democrats know it. And I think that is a big deal. So we just got to stay in the game for the long haul.
I would agree, and it's the millennial generation. Hopefully, the Zoomers are as far left as we are, or further. The Koch brothers put a lot of money into university programs like pushing Austrian economics on kids. And I'd rather someone just push drugs on kids. It's safer.
At that point, honestly. At that point.
Yeah. And like Turning Point USA, but luckily that's become more of a meme. And, you got stuff like PragerU, where they're really working hard to put out as much propaganda as they can. Now, you as a YouTube creator, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have noticed this in just my YouTube experience, is that when I go search like stuff on YouTube for left-wing content, I get nothing but right-wing ads.
Yep, same here.
Just, yeah. And
that's because, sorry, keep going.
No, it's because,
I was going to say, because right-wing media is literally artificially propped up by their billionaires. Like, the numbers are false. Like, a lot of the numbers of support that they have and views and ad and all that, it is a fucking, it is a straight up pyramid scheme. Like, the money is coming from within. Like, they are their entire online presence is artificial, like forcefully propped up, because what they do is actually not profitable, not well liked, and so they kind of have to literally force to pour endless amounts of money into whoever the fuck to get themselves noticed, because again, they don't really have that much appeal to anybody that doesn't already believe in that fucking boomer Austrian economic bullshit. You know what I mean? It's not winning, it's not working. And the thing is, I don't think they're even aware of that. So they just keep doing this is all the only way they know how to do things.
I would agree with you on that. And to tie this back to the debate, because there's a couple things that I wanted to make clear also in the debate. I know, so you were getting some pushback for letting him speak. And what I'll point out with that is with debate. So, okay, I do Kyokushin karate. I'm a Shodan. And so we do, like full contact martial arts where two black belts will just wail on each other's chests and thighs until somebody falls. But like when you do either full knockdown or semi knockdown, one of the things that you learn is, especially if the match goes to judgment, what the judges will usually do is they will give the match to the fighter who appears more aggressive. So like, if you're throwing punches and chasing somebody around the ring, even if they're like not huffing and puffing and you are, and your hits are not doing a lot, the fact that you've been seen to attack gives the impression of strength. It gives the impression that you're winning, and it takes a lot for people to see through that. Debate, in a lot of times, is a little bit more performance art. But what I really want to point out is the comments were like 100% on your side, which the times that I have debated neo-Nazis on modern day debate. Now, this is also, I've debated famous neo-Nazis that have a bunch of followers that come in and just spam their stupid memes and stuff. The comments were not nearly as close to, even though I definitely won, the comments were not nearly as close to like my way of thinking as they were. So you were very popular with the audience, and I don't think Wotan or
I got a lot of comments, and I got a lot of comments, and people emailed me and reached out to me saying, "Hey, will you come on again? Like, just against somebody that isn't fucking batshit insane." Yeah. Some people saying, "I'm sorry you had to deal with that." Like, damn, and just a unanimous fuck that guy. Do not add they're straight up telling modern debates, "Hey, don't bring that fucking guy on again." Like, what the fuck was that about? You know what I mean? It was overwhelmingly positive, with only a few people saying, like, I wish you'd have been more aggressive. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's just not my style.
Yeah, you know but you made the points. You challenged him. It was really important. And I think that, the moderator really should have done more in that, particularly when he went in and like immediately went to that non sequitur with abortion. But, as far as I know, I have not seen that moderator moderate very much before.
That was his first time. He was brand new.
Poor guy. Yeah, because again, you throw in with a Nazi, because most opponents you'll find in a debate are going to be operating partially in good faith. The alt-right never operates in good faith. They lie about everything, and like. And
I kept trying to point out, just like, look, I didn't say it during the debate, but I'm just like, because obviously anybody with a shred of sense, because I pointed out, just like, your number, you're saying, and I said to him, like, we're not, like, people are being born more than they're being aborted. And when he just went off like, well, where's your statistics? Where's your numbers on that? And I'm just like, what the fuck are you do you not understand how that, there would be significantly less of us in this country if that's how that worked, if people were having more abortions than there were more people being born. That's not.
He seems to think that, like, when people are getting abortions, they don't have kids later.
Yes, like, my mom had 3 abortions and then 5 kids. I'm one of the 5. I'm like, are we? I'm just like, how, are you stupid? Are you insane? Like, what the hell?
No, both. Here's the thing, and I've always found this. I had Kay Fellows on my channel, a libertarian pro-life feminist, and she's great. She, we disagree, but she's genuinely a good person and driven. She's from what I can tell, a pretty, honest activist and very smart. She mentioned, because she has the belief that life begins at conception.
Yeah.
However, I'm a Buddhist, and I kind of look at time very much differently. And you can draw the line and say life begins at conception, or life begins 3 months in, or life begins when you're born, or life begins when your parents meet, or when they're first attracted to each other. There's an infinite regress, and events are not actually separate events. They are one event that is being experienced by humans as separate events, because we have utility in breaking things down in the world like that. So really, like, the argument of like, oh, this is the same as police murdering black people, it's a complete non sequitur, and it doesn't make any sense.
It does, and that's why, and I tried to say this to him, because I say this to every person who brings up abortion. I straight up tell them, like, look, I cannot convince you that abortion is not murder any more than you can convince me that it is, because the foundation of our beliefs are just different in that. It comes down to our personal morality on the matter of abortion. You believe it's murder, I don't. There's nowhere to go from there. Like, I'm not, there's that's it. Like,
I'm also going to add, though, he doesn't believe it's murder.
Oh,
he because if he believed it was murder, like, if the United States government was, and like there are a lot of abortions per year, if the United States government was just straight up murdering like that many people, like
A
folks
year?
would be up in arms. Like
Absolutely.
there would be
750,000 a year of just black people alone, apparently. Of just black people alone.
yeah, which is
That
the
is-
completely wrong. That's totally wrong. Numbers.
that is an insane number.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Especially when you consider that like most people in the United States don't actually have access to abortion. And you know, again, I was in the super chats. I brought up the nuclear family, and I pointed out, yeah, it's an artifact of the nuclear age. That's why we call it the nuclear family. It's the 1950s.
He said that wasn't true. You know, like he said the nuclear family is what built societies and is what built the wealth of our country.
Yeah,
I'm
full
just like,
crap.
well, I'm like, no, what? No, that is a legitimate, and I think that was you that I agreed with.
Yeah.
I was saying, like, yeah, that's literally a relic of our capitalist system at the time, where women weren't allowed to work. You know what I mean? Essentially, so women had to rely on men to work and all that. Because again, he misrepresented my video on the nuclear families. Because a lot of a common right-wing talking point is that welfare and government assistance is destroying the nuclear families and replacing the father. And I'm like, no, women now have the autonomy to not stay in relationships they don't want to fucking be in anymore. And if the natural result of that is less nuclear families, then that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the nuclear family, like, it's based around what they want is, with the nuclear family, they want a couple of things. They want the father to be an efficient factory worker. And you even look at like how Henry Ford policed his like making sure that people don't drink, and like even the morality is coming from, is this guy going to be in on Monday ready to work, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? And similarly, like the reason why they prefer the nuclear family to clan-based or extended families is when you have everybody living, mom, dad, 2.5 kids, a dog, and a picket fence, that's a bunch more mortgages than you otherwise would. You're selling a bunch more tables and refrigerators and ovens.
You turn people into individuals rather than communities. That's a lot more stuff, a lot more customers. Rather than people living in community homes and whatnot, where we only have, instead of a bunch of different things, we have the one house, just the one big, community home or whatever. What I mean? Things like that. Because that's what would otherwise be the case.
Mm-hmm. And that's how humans have lived on this planet for most of our history.
For most of our history, yeah.
Yeah, because it makes sense. But, you've got these social engineers. So really what's destroying the nuclear family is freaking capitalism, because that model is breaking down. That's
the cruel irony of it all, is that the people who defend capitalism the most, but also hate to see all their cultural relics dissipating, don't understand that the thing they're defending is what's destroying their cultural relics.
Yep, and that's what, and eventually they go far enough, that's what turns them into a freaking Nazi or part of it.
Seriously. That's how you end up going down, because they start coming to all the wrong conclusions, because capitalism can't be wrong. It's everybody else that's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm always remembering is, and I will always remember this when somebody brings up like, police brutality towards African Americans and stuff. So I was protesting the Democratic National Convention in 2012 with Occupy Wall Street. And one of the things that happened while I was there was we were like had about 5 or 6. We were walking from a meeting place to the park with tarps because it was going to be raining, and like we wanted to keep people dry. And like literally out of nowhere, walking down this dark street, like 6 freaking cops roll up on us, surround us, and like one of them actually kind of sidled up behind me. Like if you've ever seen a guy like in a bar like sidle up behind a woman, like that he's about to hit on, like that's how close this cop got to me. And and I'm sitting there and the cops are like, those aren't signs you're carrying. And I'm like, no, sir. Like, signs make us nervous. I remember I'm like, oh, officer, you know what makes me nervous? But I didn't say that.
Standing behind you.
Yeah, I didn't say that because I would have gone to jail if I did. But I was just like, no, check him out. But it was a terrifying experience. And then like even earlier than that, like I got thrown into a motorcycle by a cop at the 1-year anniversary of Occupy Wall Street, knee in the spine. They're beating the shit out of me while they're saying stop resisting while I'm ragdoll. Well, I tell this story. I met a black gentleman and he was kind of upper class, a little well-to-do. I met him in a bar while I was taking shelter from the rain at the Democratic National Convention, and I told him this story because the part with the signs and the people rolling up had just happened to me the night before. And he's just like, you just described like every day of my life, like every interaction with the police I've ever had. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah. Again, that's why I keep telling people, just like cops, that like that's the root of the problem here. They can do whatever they want to whomever they want to. They really can. They effectively fucking can. They can lie to you. They can get you. But they don't have to read you. They're supposed to read you the rights, but they're banking on you not knowing your rights, so they take advantage of that. You know what I mean? They can do whatever the fuck they want, and they will get away with it. And that's why I keep trying to tell motherfuckers. It's just like those of you who are anti-Black Lives Matter. I'm like, here's a thing that Black Lives Matter, and then people groups long before Black Lives Matter have been pointing out for fucking decades. Cops can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
it's kind of a problem.
It's insane, but I'm glad that you're out there, doing this work. So, are you planning on doing more debates with Modern Day Debate? Because I would honestly like to see you continue to debate.
Yeah, a lot of people popular demand. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm hopefully I debate against somebody who isn't batshit insane. Like, please. Yes. And someone who isn't going to. If I was a moderator, one of the things is I hate gish galloping. I'm like, no, you're not about to fucking rapid fire 50 different goddamn points. We're gonna stay on topic. If that was me, that would be my thing. Is demanding that we stay on topic. So if I have a moderator who knows how to do that, yeah, I'm more than happy to. But if you're just gonna let some dude fucking say 50 different things, I'm like, okay, so I guess we're doing this again.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's a common tactic. When I debated Sargon of Akkad, he immediately went completely off topic. So I'll be looking forward to seeing you on the channel more often. And, I'm subscribed to your channel because I think I've been looking at your content. It looks really great. And you did an awesome job in the video. So that's awesome. Do you want to plug your pluggables? Let my audience know where they can find you, what you're doing, and when you're coming out with that fact checking video that you,
it was going to come out today. But
then I wasted your time with this interview.
No, that was not you. I didn't sleep too well last night, so I was pretty fucking tired today. I kind of took a couple naps throughout the day, and I didn't feel like doing it. So I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Great.
So, yeah, because I got 31. At first I written it down, then I typed it up, but it was several pages of just absolute insanity. But it's 31 points of different things I need to break down, and I look forward to breaking each thing down because I do want people to understand that he wasn't just an asshole; he was wrong on all fronts.
Yeah, of course.
And my channel is Rico Rants, by the way, to everybody again. And there's another channel that's Rico's Rants, like Rico, apostrophe S. He's a cool dude, but that's not me. That's not me. I'm Rico Rants. Yeah, just Rico. I got mixed up. Yeah, no, I'm just Rico Rants. Rico Rants. That's it.
And that's RICO. Awesome. And I am Brenton Lengel, BrentonLengel. You can Google me. You can find my plays, my website. I'm on Twitter at Brenton Lengel, and my YouTube. Just search Brenton Lengel at this point. I've got a lot of debates on there, a lot of like philosophical stuff, and I'm doing a series on explaining Buddhism to Westerners. So, great talking to you, dude. And, keep fighting the good fight. And yeah, absolutely. All right. Let me just, and I guess we are out.